Well, it's Monday and she's a warm one. According to the weather forecast, 33 degree top temperature today. So why in the hell am I leaving for the shops, walking off to the shops just a little after 11 o'clock in the morning? I think you know the answer to this question. It's booze. Of course it is. There's a 10% sale on today at Liquorland, and I'm going to put my usual order in, which is the 1 litre of Sailor Jerry rum and the 700ml clean skin gin. So comes to a little over $102 and gets a 10% discount, only $92. So pretty good value really. Considering I just also got an electricity bill today. I'm still way in credit, but if I wasn't, I'd be paying almost $100, which is just crazy. I mean, the rates have gone through the roof for electricity. So I won't have to do that for another 7 months or so, but reality eventually will hit. And I'm hoping maybe the Liberals might think about changing the rules so that we up here in far north Queensland get a choice of electricity retailers, because at the moment it's a monopoly with Ergon. If you don't like Ergon, you're stuffed. So would the Libs do that? Probably not, because it's a good way of making money. It's been a milk cow for the Labor government. And, you know, I don't think these governments differ that much as far as that's concerned. The bottom line, they would want as much revenue as they could get, because there is a lot of debt here too, which has been left over from the previous state government. A similar situation to what's happening in America with Trump having won the election. Now he's going to have to work out how to basically cut some costs, because the deficit in America is even worse than what we have here in proportional terms, I think, if you look at the figures. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the case. Anyway, I'll stop showing you my ugly mush, just as a reference that was, and we'll switch to the street scene. Okay, now we're walking down the street, down Bondi Crescent, beautiful Bondi Crescent, very quiet during the day. It's a very quiet area, so I've got no complaints. Much better than Central Cairns, where I used to live. And it is to see how my friend in Parramatta Park's getting on with her new house, because she's living pretty well between where my flat was that I purchased and the one that I rented. So I know the area pretty well. But getting back to Trump, what's quite interesting is that he hasn't wasted any time exerting his influence, even though he doesn't officially become president until, what is the date, late January? But the inauguration anyway is at least close to 2 months off, I know that much. So it might be early Jan, but it's a fair way. But the thing is, he's still got that presidential authority. People know he will be the president, barring assassination attempts, of course, in the case of Trump. So he's now making a lot more moves than he did previously. He was quite naive in his first 4 years. He really didn't know what he was up against. He'd just been in business. He hadn't really had much of a track record with government. I mean, he must have dealt with them in his business, but from the inside out, especially what's happening in the federal sphere, might have been something that he wasn't that au fait with, and he needed to learn a few things. But right now, I think he's way ahead of the curve, because he's been planning prior to even winning the election, which is a smart move. And one of the things he's talking about is of course, Ukraine. And that's probably the greatest sore point for me with Trump, because it's only rumours at the moment, but what appears to be happening is that there will be some sort of a buffer zone declared, and it appears as if it might be the down south of Ukraine, and that's an area. They're going to be, the buffer zone will be parts of what was declared as Ukraine prior to the invasion. Now, I think that's wrong. Personally, Russia was the aggressor. If anyone needs to pull back, it's Russia, and we should be making a buffer zone on their land. They probably say no to that, but stuff them. I think you've got to be real hardball. And why should Ukraine have to give up any of its land? It was an illegal invasion, and I believe that they need to stick to their guns. I'm sure most people in Ukraine would feel the same way too. It's just a matter of whether they'll get the backing of Western countries in Europe, for instance. Hopefully they will. So, but I don't. If Trump thinks he's going to resolve this in 24 hours, that's the biggest load of crap out. That's an insult to everybody's intelligence. And he might have had a reasonably good time of it in his first 4 years in foreign relations, but I think he's going to find the Ukraine question maybe a little harder to resolve than what he thinks. That's just my perception anyway at this stage. So that's going to be the toughest one, and that's probably the ones I'm going to be the most pissed off with. The other area where I think he could make a really positive impact is getting Elon Musk to forensically go through the expenditure for the federal government, finding ways to cut costs. I'm sure that I think a figure of a couple of trillions been mentioned in possible savings. That's an extraordinary amount. I doubt whether they get that many savings, but I'm sure there are plenty of areas where they could cut back on costs and get closer to a balanced budget and stop this burgeoning deficit. Because what happens when you get a deficit that's as high as it is, several $1 trillion, is a lot of your expenses are just paying interest, because interest rates have gone up as well. So it's a double whammy, and it's unsustainable. All of these countries, including Australia, are going to have to come to terms with that. If Dutton gets in next year, I presume he'll have to follow a similar trajectory, because Australia is not in a great situation. We're in a per capita recession, and we have been for about 6 quarters, I think. I was watching a video by an economist from macroeconomics, and he was saying that, I think he said for 4 quarters we've had the per capita recession, and he says he thinks it'll definitely go to 6 quarters and maybe even 8 if things don't turn out too well. So that's pretty damning. He also made comments on countries that have had mass immigration, like Australia and Canada. We've both done very poorly because of it in the area specifically of productivity. And it's no surprise if we have so many people coming to each of these countries, then the amount of capital per person drops. So naturally you're going to have productivity dropping. You need to, if you don't have plant and equipment or software or whatever you're using to increase your productivity, if you just got bigger numbers, you're going like third world. You're just getting bods there without actually having the equipment or systems that enable them to be efficient. And I'm very much totally behind what they're saying. I think the sooner we bring immigration back to a normal level, I think we should probably go to a low level. I think the only positive thing about COVID was that immigration was flattened. And it was interesting. I think a lot of people were happy with that aspect of it. I think it actually took a bit of pressure off things like rents and house prices and what have you, although there was still plenty of escalation there because of people wanting to move out of cities and come to regional areas like I'm at the moment. But I just think this insane hyper immigration is bad for the country. There's nothing wrong with immigration. We should be selective with the people we allow into our country, people who are going to improve skill levels and what have you. But I think the immigration department's been slack as anyway. I don't think they're being culling correctly. So I don't think we're getting necessarily getting the quality. We're getting the quantity, and that's about it. So apparently that is a major differentiation between Albanese's government and Dutton's. Dutton wants to bring immigration back to the more long-term level. So we'll see. I think he's got a chance of winning the election if he runs a good campaign. But time will tell. Now that's as far as the deficit's concerned, I think Trump will be. I think he could really kick goals in that area. The thing about putting lots of tariffs on goods imported into America, I'm not so super keen on all of that. I mean, you can use tariffs. Targeted tariffs, but I believe that free trade is the way to go, especially in the case of Australia. We are a free trading nation, so I hope that America wouldn't penalise us. I wouldn't think they would, but when they start talking about things like tariffs, it can come back to bite countries like us. So free trade has what's led to an incredible increase in living standards in places like China. We probably have been way too free with the trade there, that they've actually had incentives to make their goods more desirable to be used or purchased from their country. So they've probably used subsidies and things that have actually artificially made the Chinese exports even more favourable. But I think Trump specifically he's targeted the car industry, and he says that even just threatening the possibility of tariffs on cars that are, say, produced in Mexico by a Chinese manufacturer and sent across the border has been enough to basically curtail the development of that particular plant. So already, even though he hasn't officially become president, his presidential influence is affecting decisions. So that's it just shows you the power of that position, the most powerful person in the world, I guess. So there you go, that's that area. So I think that'll be good. As far as things like, we'd assume that SpaceX will probably do fairly well because he's pretty tight with Elon Musk now. So Elon Musk will save him money on the budget, and you would expect that the Trump administration will want to cut back on red tape. And of course things like the FAA have been a major headache for SpaceX because they've been prevented them from actually doing test flights. So, I mean, think there'll be reforms in that area. Mind you, it might even be Musk himself who makes that decision, because he'll be the head of a committee, presumably, that is looking into government waste, and he'll probably target them. The other area that they need to look at is the DOJ, Department of Justice, which has been politicised under Biden, and I think it needs to be totally reformed, and things like the FBI needs to go back to what they used to do. They used to be non-political. That's the sort of thing that happens in third world countries or Eastern Europe under the communist regimes. You would have like the Stasi and things like that, totally politicised policing forces, well, I think he's going to have to be tough as nails on that one. So I think he's going to make some really hard decisions. There's going to be some people who are going to be really pissed off, and I don't think he'll be wasting time this time. I think he'll get straight into it. So it could be a very exciting period up until Christmas, a little after, before the actual inauguration itself. We might already start seeing, well, we already are seeing effects upon his presidency. As I said, the automobile plant in Mexico, the Chinese one, the car plant, has been put on the sidelines. It's not viable given tariffs. So, but as far as his diplomacy, well, we'll wait and see how effective his diplomatic efforts are, and if he will actually do the right thing by Ukraine. You can only hope. A lot of people have said he'll just wash his hands of them. I don't think he will. I think it's more subtle than that, but I hope he's not so naive that he thinks that he can basically do some deal with Putin. Putin's a man who cannot be trusted. They shouldn't be dealing with the current Russian regime. Best thing they can do, well, that's the other thing that he will be doing, he'll be pumping a damn sight more oil. Drill, baby, drill. And what that's going to do is lower the global cost of oil, and in effect that could help cripple the Russian economy, because their biggest earner is oil, and if the oil price drops globally, then revenues in Russia drop quite a bit, because Russian oil isn't the cheapest to produce either. So the break-even point, I think, might be around $40 a barrel US in Russia. It's probably a lot cheaper in America, and maybe even in Venezuela, although Venezuelan oil needs a lot of post-production. It's got a lot of sulfur in it apparently. But yeah, I think that's going to be a major thing once he gets that happening. Of course, he can't just flick the switch on that one, but he can at least, all these companies that want to do fracking, what have you, now know that he will be in the president. So I guess now they've actually moving to a go position on the date of his inauguration. So maybe we will see a fairly quick change in output of oil, making the US an oil exporter, net exporter, and that will hammer the global price of oil. So that's pretty big. So the consequences are there, that's for sure. Oh, it's a nice breeze. Boy, that helps. I'm actually handling it pretty well. I guess I know I'm going to get my grog, that helps. But the breeze has really taken the bite off the heat. So it's actually quite a nice day. But I did a bit of gardening earlier, and I was sweating like a pig walking inside. Oh, my petunias have all germinated. There's a whole bunch of them because I put all the seeds in one big pot, and now it's like looks like grass because there's so many of them have germinated. So that's really good. I'm going to have to cull them and put them in smaller pots, and but they're looking pretty good right now. Well, got my grog, and apparently it's been quite busy there. There've been a lot of people ordering pickups today to get the 10% off. Makes sense. Oh, the other thing I did today, I did a bit of gardening. I've been meaning to plant at the last tree, and I had to actually use the mattock to clear some roots and what have you, and it's in the ground now. It's looking a bit wilted. I actually gave it a good watering, but I might have to do it again. But I'm just glad I got it done. But I also had to remove a whole lot of these horrible creeper plants. I don't know what they are. They've got a mauve. You probably know them if you're in Cairns. They've got little mauve flowers. They're quite nice flowers, but it's a prickly type of creeping plant that creeps along garden, along with the grass or in bushes and what have you. It's really prickly and horrible stuff. So I had to remove a fair bit of that. And So that was a bit messy, but I finally got the bloody plant in, that's the main thing. But and gave it some chicken pellets and stuff to feed it. But the plants, the leaves are looking droopy at the moment, so I gave it two watering cans of water, but it might need some more water later. I'll go and check on it when I get back. But like I say, it's just good to get it done. It wasn't that difficult to do. Now the only other plant I've got in a pot is actually my fern, one of my ferns, which is in a bigger pot than the original, and it's grown quite a bit. I'm going to have to go away for a few days, so I'm just a bit worried about my plants, especially the petunias that have just germinated. So might have to get a neighbour to come around and check on it for me. Well, it's Tuesday and it feels damn hot. I think it's going to be 32 again today. And I felt particularly hot and sweaty yesterday. And in the afternoon I did mulching, and so I took it out of me a bit. Oh, and on top of that, I walked to the Kawara shops to pick up the 10% discount grog. So when you think about it, it was a pretty active day. But it won't be like that today, I don't think. Unless I have to walk back from the highway, which could happen, but I got my walking shoes on, so if that is the case, that'll be all right. Still getting that twinge in my right side. I might have to take an anti-inflammatory. When I sleep on my right side, it's okay, but on the left side, it's not so good. Anyway, tomorrow I'll be in Brisbane. Got a midday flight. Sid has graciously offered to give me a lift to the airport, which is really nice of him. I might even ask a favour of him to water my petunias, which have just germinated, because I don't think the other plants can probably hang out there for a few days, but seeing these ones have just germinated, I think they're quite vulnerable. It's great. It's great to see so many of them have actually germinated. I wish I hadn't used the whole container, just the one pot. I didn't realise it gets such a high success rate, but unfortunately I did, so I don't have a backup for them if I can't get those ones to grow. But yeah, they're obviously very good seeds, so pretty happy with it. I'll make a note of that with these seed supply. Now they've also supplied the flame tree seeds. I don't think any of them have germinated, but they're larger seeds. So yeah, I mean, I've generally had no luck with those dust type of seeds, but the petunias have actually been a success story. It's the first time that's worked for me. So I'm not sure what the trick is there. I think I followed the same routine. I just put a little bit of a furrow in the potting mix and just sprinkled them along that little gully that I'd formed. So I don't know, I don't think there's anything particularly special about it. I'm also putting mulch over all the pot plants just to help them retain moisture, because I may not be back until Saturday or Sunday. So that's going to be, they normally get their next watering on Friday, so they'll be little, but the pot plants I water every day, so yeah, that could be a bit devastating for them. Well, the trees in the ground, they can survive okay, but even the ferns, they'll be okay for a few days, but just the ones in the pots that really concern me. Whew. You can use that that bubbly stuff. Oh, I don't know what's it called again. It soaks up the water, and you put it next to the roots, and it'll basically expand and feed your plants. I've used it in the past, but apparently it can cause damage to the roots of plants, so you've got to be careful using that stuff. Oh, good, some shade here, thank God. Yeah, pretty warm at about 10 past 11 in the morning. Feels like summer weather, but there's a nice breeze, thank God. Well, that was the bus ride from hell on that bus, and down the back there they got 5 young women who got on board in Trinity Beach, and they had their, of course they had their rap music playing, and they were constantly talking on the phones, probably doing drug deals, I don't know. I couldn't understand half of it. I wasn't sure whether it was in English or not. It was like it's pidgin English. Oh God, just horrible though. The music, it just sounded like screeching sounds. It was just disgusting. And there's a woofer BO as well. So yeah, it was a pretty uncomfortable ride as it turned out. And we got close to the Cairns. Of course, you had to stop at virtually every stop. Seems like everybody's getting on board. Sometimes you go down that main road with no stops, but not today, unfortunately. So that was a very uncomfortable ride, and that's the problem with public transport. You just never know what it's going to be like. Most times it's fine, but it's times like these you sort of appreciate when you're having a quiet trip. I reckon that noise from the back of the bus came from the same people that I copped when coming down here, because it's the same bus. It's the 111 bus. So talk about unlucky. I should have been the 110 bus, but that just didn't show. So unfortunately I copped it again. It's just, I don't know what the hell we're listening to. It's not what I'd call music. It just sounds like stuff you'd torture people with. It sounds like people shouting and screaming, and just nothing mellifluous whatsoever about it. But oh man, I just feel like I've escaped. It's just horrible when you're... That's actually what... I changed seats this time. It was so bad. Luckily someone got off near the front of the bus and swapped seats, and it wasn't quite as bad. But these people are so selfish. They don't care about anybody else around them. And I bet you it's the same people who got on at Trinity Beach near where the school is. But anyway, hopefully my luck improves. Okay, I'm walking back... from the bus stop on the main highway over there, and I got another key cut. It only cost $10, which is sort of what I was hoping for, so it's not too bad. And it took the guy about a minute to cut, so that was pretty easy. So that's done my shopping. Pretty efficient at the hospital today, and I got away early. It's about, what is it, 3:15 at the moment, so I'll get home about 25 past, I guess. Oh no, it won't, 1/2 past, no. It'll be another good 20 minutes or so before I get home, but that's okay. I'll get my exercise. It isn't too heavy a pack, and it's not super oppressive heat-wise. So it's good. And I didn't get any dickheads in the back of the bus on the 110 taking me from Smithfield to here. It was a nice change. Whew. And I worked out that I think it's called St Kevin's College. I thought it was like a university college, like for people living away like they had at Latrobe, but no, I think it's a school. That explains all the students that are streamed out of it, so that's one mystery solved. Now I get back home, I resume my upload of my latest YouTube video, which stalled didn't stall, but I switched off the computer with about 45 minutes to go with the download. But you should be able to resume downloads these days. I've done it once before, so it shouldn't be an issue. So hopefully I can pick up when I get home and log on. So off to Brizzy tomorrow. So not looking forward to flying down there, but what can you do? Like, I may get a new experience of catching the train back. The nurse who treated me today said that is happening. That's happened to someone she knew who had a heart condition and just couldn't fly, so had to take the train all the way from Brisbane back here. But I'll take some sedatives with me so I might be able to get some snooze while I'm sitting up in the seat. I mean, the seats are as comfortable as airline seats, may even be better. I think they're slightly bigger, so it's not bad. Well, I got a connecting bus. The 111 pulled up just shortly after I got to the shops, so I got the bus down back here, but it took a long time to get going. I reckon I would have been halfway home anyway. But yeah, some woman got on board just as we were about to leave, and someone got on at the at my stop here too, so it's unusual. But anyway, I won't be quite as fatigued when I get home. Whew. So that's a bit of good fortune. I do need a bit of exercise, but again, I still got that twitch after walking all the way to the shops and back again yesterday. Didn't seem to make much difference. Yeah, that bus driver's slow. What's he on? Anyway, almost home, thank God. Looking forward to it. Have a nice cold drink. And then a salad for my last meal here until I get back from the medical crap in Brisbane. Now I'm back at Cairns Domestic Terminal in my trip to Brisbane. I don't have to go to the hospital until 7:30 tomorrow morning. Got a phone call while Sid was kindly taking me to the airport, and that's fine. But of course, when I got my boarding pass, which thank God I could still get a printed one here, unlike Qantas, those idiots, they of course allocated me with an exit seat, which is exactly what I don't want. It seems to happen to me all the damn time. I said no, and I'm hoping that the seat that they've allocated me is non-exit seat, because I don't want to go through crap like this again, because it's just amazing the number of times they do that. I think they just do it to piss me off. Anyway, I'll just go through security, and hopefully things should go all right. There shouldn't be any major hassles. Just make sure you take everything out of your pockets. Even handkerchiefs apparently is a problem. It's crazy security stuff. Anyway, there's quite a queue waiting. As you can see ahead of me, there's quite a queue of people waiting to go through security, so it's a busy time. It's about 10:30 in the morning, and I'll have to run the gauntlet soon. I just did the weigh-in for the bag with Jetstar, and it was only 4 kilos, so you got a 7 allowance, so I'm travelling pretty light, which is fine by me. So I'll be boarding fairly soon, maybe. If everything goes to plan, we'll see. No great pressure today anyway. As long as I'm there by 7:30 tomorrow morning, we'll be fine. Hopefully a little sooner than that. Now, I've never had to wait this long for the air train, like 25, 26 minutes. Oh God, it was 27. And only leaving from one platform. So pretty slack. Luckily I'm in no great rush today. But yeah, I must have just missed the train, unfortunately. Normally you'd be waiting about 10 minutes or so. It's not great today, but anyway, I'll get there at some stage. I'm going to go to Central and try my luck getting one of the direct buses to my destination. See how that all goes. I don't know. But the flight was pretty uneventful. It was all right. We got here on time. I'd say Jetstar certainly beats Qantas hands down. Qantas are total crap in my book compared to Jetstar. They run efficiently and on time. And they have printable boarding passes, which is a nice touch too. So yeah, I don't know, this thing seems to be counting down faster than actual minutes. I think maybe it's not as bad as I think. Maybe on a different clock, I don't know. It's a bit weird. But anyway, hopefully soon. Well, I decided to get off the train at Bowen Hills and get to the hospital first, and then work out my route from there to where I'm staying. So God, everybody will walk past, they're all looking at their damn screens and not looking where they're walking. It's unbelievable. The number of people come across who are just fixated. Yeah, so I've got a bit of shade here, which is good, because it's, I was worried it might be raining, that was the forecast, but it seems fairly clear, but you've got to be careful with the sun, of course. Don't get too much of it. So, go down this little road and then we get to a terrace which takes us across to the actual hospital, and then I'll know how to navigate tomorrow morning from the Hurston Place motel where I'm going to be staying. That's the theory, so we'll see how it all pans out. It does look familiar down here. And it's good to have a bit of back exercise, a bit of walking. But you had to rush to the loo after the end of the flight, I didn't realise. That salad I had last night was a bit deadly. But looking forward to getting to the motel, use the facilities there next. Healthy food, but it goes through the system, unfortunately. Lots of spinach. Maybe that was the culprit. I don't know. I had some homegrown capsicums as well. I wonder if they caused issues. Now, pretty sure this is where I've got to go. Better get back on my phone and get my directions. Yeah, it looks a bit nicer here. Bit of shade and what have you. It's quite a... That's where the bus station is, on the corner. It's quite large. It's just the other entrance to the hospital. That's what threw me. But finally getting some shade. It's been bugger all trees up until this point, but now I've got to just make a beeline to where the motel is. So just get across here, just keep going up this way. Basically it's pretty close, which is good. I don't know about these pathways, they're not really ergonomically designed, sort of go all over the place. But we are definitely making progress towards the motel. Bit of cool breeze is nice too. Whew. Yeah, it's quite attractive around here. But on the other side is sort of pretty squalid urban type area. That's very nice down there too. Like that old building there. Plenty of exercise to be had. It's all uphill. Well, I'm still making progress according to the GPS. Just whether I'll last the distance is the question. Just keeps going up and up and up. Would have been easy going to Central, get the bus. Up and up and up. Well, tomorrow will be easier. It'll be downhill. Just make sure I don't go arse over tit. Well, there'll be plenty of light that time. About 6:30. I wonder if there'll be a light when I get to the motel. Well, I'm hot, tired and a bit pissed off, to be quite frank. I finally made it to the Hurston motel, Hurston Place motel, and it's just not worth the money, nowhere near. It's just a place. It's got a little balcony, which I suppose is its best feature, but you know, compare this to what you get in Vietnam, it's just incredible. Like I reckon I was paying, on a monthly basis, admittedly, I would be paying around $30 a night. Here I'm paying $190. I've got an extra queen size bed, which is totally useless to me. I suppose if you had 4 people sleeping here, it wouldn't be so bad price-wise, but it's just me. And unfortunately, last Friday, there was just no choice of places. On top of that, I'm going to have to try to wangle that $70 back. What I should have done is actually rung the guy direct and mentioned it, and he would have been able to factor that in. But no, of course, I have to do it the hard way. I'm going to have to try to get the money back off the travel people in Cairns.
He wouldn't even give me a receipt because he says Booking.com haven't paid him the money yet he's allowing me to stay here. So that's pretty illogical. So try to work that one out. I suppose the only good thing I can say is at least the Wi-Fi seems to be working okay. But this area is absolutely dead. I just logged on to their Wi-Fi to find out what sort of food and grog situation is here. There is none. This is the dead heart of Brisbane. I looked up, there's a number of cafes here that get decent ratings, coffee houses, and they're all shut. I mean, this is only 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they are all shut. The only place that's open is down near where the actual where the hospital is, and that's a Subway, and that is the only place that's open, and that only stays open till 6. It's just nothing here. There's no grog shops. There's nothing. There is a bus stop down the corner. I suppose I could get a bus into the city. I think I'd have to just to find somewhere decent, because there's just nothing here. This is just the only thing it's got going for it is that it's close to the hospital. But I'll tell you what, the reason I'm so sweaty and exhausted is because it's all uphill from Bowen Hills railway station. Once you get to the hospital, it's just climbing a hill continually. So it's quite exhausting and it's quite convoluted. And I'll need GPS to find my way back, even though it's very close. It's crazy. It is super hilly. And because of that, I don't want to go back down that hill because I'll have to come up that hill. The only real option I've got is to get one of the buses into the city and get it back here, because otherwise it's just too hard. And I'm actually looking forward to going to the damn hospital. I think I've got more chance of getting a drink there than I have here. I mean, the good thing is that I've been fast-tracked to have the operation done, and that's the most important thing. Ah, boy, yeah, I'm just a bit bushed and a bit looking forward to getting into the hospital and getting the business done, getting to work on my right eye, and hopefully give me a bit more visual acuity there. That'll be great. But yeah, I'm a bit of grumpy guts today, unfortunately. Look, I'll give you a tour of the hotel too. Because the hotel room, if this thing ever works, here we go. As you can see, there's 2 beds there, 2 queen-size beds, which is totally useless. So I'm presumably paying for 2 beds, and I obviously can only use one. There's a little balcony here with chairs there, so it's okay. I guess it's about the best feature. It's not a bad view out to the hills. It's quite warm out. It's about 28 degrees and quite humid. And just got some crappy old table in the centre. Nothing special there. The walls are nothing special. It's just, look, it's very basic. Aircon's working, the fan's working, so I suppose that's good. No toothpaste, unfortunately, so good thing I bought my own container. There's the toilet and there's the shower. Again, pretty basic, but I'll definitely use it. I'll definitely have an early shower tomorrow morning. And just a cupboard space there, and that's about, storage space and stuff. It seems quiet. Someone said it was noisy. There is a building site next door, so maybe that's it. But as you can see, you've just got a toaster and a kettle and a microwave, and that's it, and a bar fridge. And there are some utensils here. So, can you see those? You can't. There's cups and stuff there, and utensils there. Let's see if I can get them in frame. No, I can't. Oh, yes, I can. There you go. There you go. So that's basically it. Not Shangri-La, but for one night, I guess I can live with it. Yeah, it's about 7:15, and look at that building site just next door to this particular motel. you got power drivers and stuff like that happening in the background. It would be particularly bad if you were down that end. I was down that end. There was no noise overnight at all. It was fine, but then again, I was getting away very early. I'm getting away early in the morning, so it's not an issue for me. But anyone who was staying there, would be inconvenienced for sure by the noise here, because it's a major building site, as you can see. But for me, it was fine. Last night, I had no problems at all with noise. Because I didn't have my sedatives, I couldn't really get my full 4 to 5 hours of sleep, so sleep deprived. But at least I've finished there. I'm glad to get out of that place. And now I'll finally get to the business end of this visit, and that'll be to get that operation done today. With any luck, unless it gets delayed, but hopefully not. Now, I think I'm going the right direction here. It's really convoluted journey getting back to the hospital, but the only directions I've got is it's level 2 of stars, which is the surgical area. So look, I'm just taking it easy, no rush at all. It's probably only going to take me a quarter of an hour to get there, so I'll be there about half hour early, but just want to give myself extra time, orientation time. So we'll see how we go. Now that's the bus stop I would have stopped at if I'd taken the bus from the city. So I think I've got to go down this way if I recall. I better get my GPS out, because I could easily stuff this up.